Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Dallas Daily Show, coming at you here from the Neighborhood Loan Studio in St. Louis, Missouri. Today's episode is Scratches in the New Family Table. Let's get into it. All right, so we moved a couple of years ago, bought a home, a beautiful home, but one of the things that we wanted to do, both my wife and I have always loved those, the dining room tables that have the live edge. Have you seen those? It's like slabs of wood and it's kind of an unfinished edge on it. And some of them have the little river of, you would have thought I would have remembered what this is called. Like it's like an enamel or like what do they call that, Taylor? You know what I'm talking about? The ones that have the black river or the blue river down the middle. Doesn't matter. Anyway, epoxy. There it was. The epoxy. Geesh. This is why sometimes not having any script in front of me is not necessarily valuable. So my wife really wanted this. She wanted a centerpiece, a showpiece, and so we found a guy who was able to send us like photos of samples of wood, and we got to pick these two pieces of black walnut, and then he carved it out, put it all together, assembled it, glazed it, delivered it to us. It's beautiful piece of furniture, and I'll be honest, we paid a chunk for it. A chunk more than I would normally pay for a kitchen table. But one of the things is eating around the table is a big value for my wife and I. It was something that when we had children, we said we really want to make sure that family table time is prioritized. And so I don't know if it is for you or not, but in our home, especially during the school year, I make hot breakfast 5 days a week. If I'm in town, if I'm not out traveling somewhere speaking, but it's at least eggs that are hot 5 days a week. And we sit around the table 6:30, 6:40 in the morning, and the boys, we talk and we laugh a little bit. We say a family prayer together, and then they start heading to the buses. But that's a really important time for us, is to have family table time. And we also usually about 4 nights a week will do a family dinner. Now they're getting older. They're moving in different directions. One's in martial arts. One's takes CrossFit classes. Another takes gymnastics. So some days it just doesn't happen. My wife does yoga at night sometimes as well, or I have meetings or I'm out of town. Doesn't always work, but we aim for 3 to 4 family dinners a week. So it's a very important part of our life because we want those moments. And we have said that 20 years from now, we want our children to actually say, man, I loved being around mom's table. That's a goal for us, and that they can't wait to bring their kids over to grandma and grandpa's so that they can be around the family table. I think Zach Brown even had a whole song about the family table. Great song. Maybe I'll put a link to it in the notes. I don't know. We'll see. But that's an important thing for us. But we paid for this table, very lovely table, and about 4 days, about 3 meals into it, we set down this one thing, not on a placemat, and it was one of the serving dishes, and it had a rough edge on the bottom. And when the boys moved it and dragged it, it caused a scratch. And it didn't buff out. And it was a brand new table, and it took my focus for that meal. But it was one of those things that I just went, okay, I just paid a lot of money for this table, and it already is damaged, and it's not a week old. Yay. And my wife saw the look on my face, and she just simply said, hey, it's just evidence that life happened here. And I was like, doggone it, why are you so even measured and patient and kind? I love that. I hate that about her. But she said this thing. She said, it's okay. It shows that life happened here. And so I started thinking about this idea of life marks, where there's maybe a scar, or maybe there's a scratch, or maybe there's a dent or a ding, or maybe, there's the tree with the old carved initials in it, right? That's 2 generations old from your grandparents, and they carved JK plus JA or whatever, right? Inside of a heart. And all of those things, there's 2 ways to look at it. Number one, we can look at it like damage, right? We can look at it like, wow, you damaged the thing, right? You damaged the stuff. We damaged, quote unquote, the table on week 1. That's one way to look at it. Or maybe in the natural processes of life marks happen. Maybe something breaks. Maybe something has a scab, a scar. Maybe you've got a scar from an old wound, right? Maybe there's a mark in our table, life marks. And here's what it says: life happens here. Life happened here. Something occurred here that is worth the story. Because if we think of it as the thing, right, or if we think of it as the stuff, then we view it as damage. But if we think of it as the person, or if we think of it as the story behind it, then maybe, just maybe, we can celebrate that life happened here. Even if it was a painful moment, we can look back and say, what was the lesson? Because life happened here. There's this beautiful Japanese art. You've heard about this probably before, Kintsugi. And what they will do is it's a gold, gold oh my gosh, like embroidery. Like if a jar breaks or a bowl breaks, a gold bonding. They will take gold or some other ore, and they will melt it, and they will bond the piece back together. And what you see is you see the cracks that are now filled with gold. And kintsugi is actually more valuable than the bowl was, because what kintsugi says is something was broken and it got rebuilt. It's actually more valuable now because the story is in the scar. So I just want you to think in your own life, where might there be a scar? Where might there be a life mark? Where might there be an old memory that's like, oh, and you've been told you're broken, even if you've healed over time. I'm just beginning to wonder, what if you shifted the story around that? What if instead of, we ruined the new table, or I lost 5 years of my life in my depression. What if instead of that, I can go, no, I'm grateful for that, because my now present me is bonded with the gold. I am a walking form of kintsugi, and those scars simply show me that life happened here. So think about what that might be in your own life. And that is the positive play call today. Is I want you to get your positive play call card, and you're just simply going to write the phrase, life happens here, or maybe life happened here. And maybe put it in a place where a memory hits you. Maybe put it on that, scarred piece of furniture or whatever, where you can see it. And it's just a reminder that the life marks are proof that life actually happened here. That's it. That's all I got for you today, my friends. Go to the website, get the resources you need to, use your positive play call and say, life happens here. And as I always like to say, go out there and have a championship day.
Thanks for listening to my dad's podcast. For more tools, go to dallasdailyshow.com. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Thank you.